Welcome again to Money Talks. I'm Brian Johns, and today we're going to be talking to a man with a lot of money. He's William E. Douglas, the Vice President and Chairman of the Efron Corporation, which is a large holding company which controls over $30 billion in assets. $30 billion. So we filmed the interview last weekend at Mr. Douglas's fabulous Bel Air home, and so why don't we look at that film now? Well, here I am at the fabulous estate of Mr. William E. Douglas. And Mr. Douglas, this real big house you got here, how much would a place like this cost?
Well, Brian, with the market the way it is and interest rates, the fact that over the last few years demand for property in this general area has increased, I would say that the home is worth 8, maybe 10 times what I paid for it several years ago.
$500,000, so $500,000 times 10 would be $5 million?
I would say under $5 million, Brian. But the point is that real estate can be a sound investment, and I've always believed that.
Is it very difficult to become rich?
I'm sorry?
I mean, were you rich when you were my age, or when did you become rich?
Well, it's certainly not a rags to riches story, Brian, that there will always be a disparity. You see, Brian, the relative value of a good or a service is dependent upon the supply and demand within the marketplace. Ah, Milius.
Yes, sir.
I would like some ice water.
Very good, sir. You, sir?
I'll have a Pepsi.
Very good, sir.
Thank you, Milius.
Are servants expensive? Like, what would you pay that guy? How much would a pool like this cost?
Well, it's part and parcel with the house, Brian. I imagine with labor and material costs, this would be fairly expensive to replace today.
Are your neighbors rich? How do you buy into something? Do you use your own money, or do you have to take a loan from the bank?
Well, now that's an interesting question, Brian. Most of our acquisitions now are funded by a bank which we set up ourselves, so that in a sense, we're doing both of those things.
Do you have to be rich to buy into something?
Well, that reminds me of my very first portfolio which I set up. It was a series of mortgages for which I used my home and car as collateral. Now, it was low risk and the return was certainly limited.
Do you know, is there a cheaper one that someone like me could buy into, for instance?
Well, a good broker could recommend a series of investments for you, Brian. Mrs. Douglas said 5 o'clock, Eric, so that should work out perfectly.
Very well, sir.
Goodbye, Brian.
This is fabulous. So much room in here. Is this car very expensive? A fabulous weekend at the estate of William E. Douglas. Next week on Money Talks with Brian Johns, we'll be talking to Gerald Tyler, who's 32 years old, same age as me, and I'm just as smart as he is, but he came up with an idea to build toilet paper dispensers with radios in them. And he's a millionaire now, so we'll talk to him next week about how he got rich. And till then, bye for now.